Concord launched just a few days ago to literally no fanfare. And I mean it, no one liked this game. Its peak player count at launch was just 697 players on Steam, an abysmal number for what was supposed to be a flagship live service game made by Sony. And it seems like the player count on PlayStation wasn't much better. It's hard to overstate just how bad of a screw up this was for Sony, considering I've seen reports that the game cost them over $100 million and 8 years of development time. So today we're going to talk about why it was such a massive failure. There isn't just one reason either. It's a perfect storm of complete incompetence and out of touch game development. But I think the biggest reason is that the game just isn't fun. If you watch any review of Concord, you'll see that people don't really have many issues with the core aspects of the game. It's fairly balanced, its movement is fine. I mean, they spent 8 years getting the game to technical perfection. They just forgot to add something fun that makes the game stick out. The game started development back when Overwatch was newly released, and you can tell. Concord is like someone played a few hours of Overwatch and decided to make a lifeless, boring copy of it, which is, I'm fairly sure, exactly what they did. I mean, none of the characters have any gameplay that really sticks out. If Concord was a breakfast food, it would be unflavored oatmeal. Not really bad, but there's no reason to have it when you can have literally anything else. Though I guess someone over at IGN really likes oatmeal, because they rated Concord a 7, which only makes sense if they were rating it off of its queue times. Another problem that stems from the boring gameplay was that the queues for games were really long, like 7 to 8 minutes at times. No one's gonna wait extra time for Concord when they could just log into Overwatch and have a better time. Which leads me to my other point. Concord wasn't free to play. For whatever reason, even after Overwatch went free to play, Sony thought that smacking a fairly high price tag of $39.99 onto the game was a good idea, which, well, it obviously wasn't. The cost of the game just put another barrier in front of people who would maybe be open to play a game like Concord. Because again, no one is going to pay money for a new hero shooter when Overwatch is still free, unless it really sets itself apart from the competition, which Concord obviously failed to do. Another thing Concord failed at was character design. All of the characters are just forgettable. I mean, it's obvious that they went for that weird idea that putting attractive characters in games is bad, because none of the characters are particularly attractive, to the point that it's kind of obvious that they went to extra lengths to avoid pretty much anything considered traditionally attractive in their character designs, which is a weird choice since attractive or at least cool looking character designs are the only thing that sells character skins. But instead, Concord made their characters just boring. Let's be honest here and just say, Overwatch wouldn't have had the same degree of cultural impact if they hadn't put Mercy, Diva, or Widowmaker into the game. I mean, just turn off Safe Search and look them up, and you'll see that there's a lot of people who really like their designs, to say the least. Not having that, directly trying to avoid that, is just harming your game's reach for literally zero reason. People generally like to look at characters that are either attractive or cool looking. That's what makes people share fan art of your character. That's what increases word of mouth. That's what starts a community. If no one likes your characters, no one is ever going to talk about your game. It was genuinely just a baffling decision on their part, made especially more baffling when you realize they had all sorts of stuff planned for the characters. Like, they were trying to do cinematics, and the characters were even supposed to show up in an episode of the upcoming Amazon show set in Video Game Universe's Secret Level, which is going to be kind of weird now that the game's been shut down. I don't think that they're going to rewrite or remove an episode just because the game flopped. Ironically, I think more people will likely watch the show than ever played Concord, which really isn't as hard as it sounds. And of course, the last big reason, though I'm not sure exactly how impactful it was, is the culture war. For whatever reason, Sony decided to launch this IP by getting it involved in the culture war. We've already talked about them making the characters less attractive, which is a culture war thing, since it's a left-wing push that's against traditionally attractive characters. But they also, for no discernible reason whatsoever, decided that it was important to list each character's pronouns in the game, despite the characters being completely fictional, thus injecting controversy into the game for pretty much zero reason. It's not like the character's pronouns serve any gameplay role. It's purely just something that they added in and kept in after the controversy first started for entirely political reasons. Which, I mean, if you're an indie dev and you're making your passion project and you want to shove your politics down your players' throats, that's fine. I won't play your game, but it's fine. However, if you're trying to actually make money, it's a terrible idea. Identity politics are one thing that really makes people mad. If Bud Light couldn't handle the backlash from choosing a different side of the culture war than their buyers, what made anyone think Concord would? I mean, it's not like the success of the anti-woke boycotts are a secret, and so far at least, they've been pretty successful. Even just in gaming, the the anti-DEI game pushback is huge, which makes sense when you realize that outside of the West, woke stuff like listing pronouns is incredibly unpopular. By including any amount of it, you're alienating a large portion of humanity. I mean, what are the most populated countries, not including the USA? China and India, Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Brazil, Bangladesh, and Russia. Just take a moment and look at where any of those countries stand on woke issues. They don't stand for it at all. And considering that they make up a large portion of Earth's population, by simply including anything woke, you're cutting your potential customer base by a lot, which is fine if you're an indie studio. But if you're Sony, you're looking to make it big in countries outside of the US. And that being said, woke stuff is less popular than ever in the US itself as well. So that's just lowering your customer base even more for zero reason whatsoever. There are only downsides to getting your game involved in the culture war. How much did the wokeness actually affect Concord? It's not really possible to know, except that given its incredibly small user base, it probably wouldn't have hurt to not exclude about half of Americans, let alone people in other countries. Contrary to what other YouTubers might think, I don't believe that wokeness is what killed Concord, but it certainly was a factor. And all of the factors came together to make what has to be the worst video game flop of all time. If the numbers being reported about the budget are true, then they spent upwards of $100 million to make this game. A game that sold so poorly that they are taking it down not even a month after it launched, even taking the step to offer refunds to everyone who bought the game, meaning that they will have effectively made nothing from the game at all. And besides the losses, they're taking a giant reputational hit from it as well. I don't think the people over at Firewalk Studios, who Sony bought, from what I can tell, pretty much entirely because of Concord, will have jobs for much longer. Losses of this magnitude might even end up affecting some of the upper management. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the meeting where they decided to just cut their losses and take the game down. I'm pretty sure Sony has a few other live service games in development as well, though it's hard to know what's current. It'll be interesting to see if they cancel those, because honestly, I think they might. Making a live service game that does well has the potential to make so much money it's unbelievable, but Concord might have shown them that the risks are too high. And I think in general, less live service games is a benefit for gamers, so we'll take it. But what do you guys think? Why do you think Concord failed? Was it the gameplay? The price? The fact that there was just no reason to play it at all over Overwatch? Or was it the wokeness and the culture war that caused its failure? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.